All right. Welcome back to the third episode of the Pizza Pastime show. I was able to get together with my brothers this time. As you can see, Juan's right here next to me, and I got my brother Chris over here. We we're able to just kind of come on, get on, just talk basketball. Obviously, the Phoenix Dallas game is on right now, so we're all paying attention to that while being live to talk just a little bit about playoff basketball. I just wanted to. We just watched the Bucks Celtics game 7, and I wanted to get these guys on and just talk a little bit about their feelings of the playoffs overall, and having some live reactions to the game right now. So Juan, this is right next to me, man. How'd you feel about that game 7 and I guess the playoffs in general, since you haven't been able to talk about that much?
I guess first to start off with the Boston-Milwaukee Game 7, it was a pretty fun game, I guess, like the first half, but then the second half, the Boston just blew it open. Milwaukee couldn't hit any shot, and Giannis was missing layups and struggling to just get anything going. There's really no spacing for Milwaukee. I think they hit like 4 threes total throughout the whole game, and Boston just ran away with it. They had the home court advantage. That was it was a fun series to watch. That one in general, I thought Milwaukee was going to win in 6. I can see, like, even without Chris Middleton, and then actually having the chance to win in Game 6,
had a shot.
Yeah, you had a chance. Boston comes back in Game 6, takes that one right back from you, and then they closed you out at home. It's playoff basketball. It's fun. It's exciting. Obviously, I'm a big Derek White fan, so and Ime for as a coach. It's not like I'm rooting for Boston, but there's like Derek White's success is it's pretty fun. As far as like the East playoffs, I haven't really paid attention to much outside of the Boston series, the Boston Nets, and then now Boston and Milwaukee. But in the West, I was really, as they say, like praying on Memphis's downfall. I really wanted Memphis to lose, and that finally happened. So that series was a little wonky, especially like Memphis blowing them out by like 50 in that Game 5, I believe. But I haven't really been able to catch too many games outside of like those 2 series I just mentioned. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Been my thoughts. I'm just rooting for former Spurs all across the playoffs, and now I'm pretty much down to Derek White. That's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah, no, I feel that. You're talking about that Memphis game or the Memphis series, and man, it was pretty funny seeing Ja tweet out saying like Jonathan Kuminga needed to earn his stripes before he's able to talk mess, and I was so confused.
What did Kuminga say?
They've been doing like the whoop that. The whoop that trick, and
he just jumped in on that.
Yeah, he just jumped in on that, and so it was kind of funny to see Ja of all people say that he needs to earn his stripes, and I was just like, both of you guys haven't earned your stripes. What are you talking about? Like,
right.
Like if he's talking trash and you're talking trash, like there's no thing about earning stripes that made me think like Ja needed to put him in his place after that. It was kind of funny, honestly. But Chris, Juan was able to talk about how he was his vendetta against Memphis and preying on their downfall and stuff. Was there anything like that for you?
I don't have a vendetta too much against players or the teams. Well, let me say it that way. I don't have too many vendettas against the teams, but just in general, the players who've just been like crying this whole postseason. That's kind of been like my vendetta. Is like I'm just ready to see those series end. I was surprised last. Who did Phoenix play before Dallas?
New Orleans.
Okay. So I take it back. I was surprised at the beginning of this series of round 2, I should say. Like how this one felt the least in games 1 and 2, like the least like foul baiting, and I was like, okay, Luka, Chris Paul, it's probably gonna be all it is. And yeah, basically once we got to Dallas, it kind of devolved into that pretty quick. So that's just been my biggest thing. It's been really fun. I've been enjoying the playoffs. Memphis is Memphis was fun to watch. I'm glad that they're out now. The same thing that you guys are saying. They needed to be humbled just a little bit, and I'd rather them learn I'd rather their lesson for this postseason be like, how do we come back from a close loss and blah blah blah, versus like their lessons are like they just learn how to win and get to the next round. Like save that for later.
Yeah.
We can push those lessons down the road. So like right now, like who am I rooting for? I know people are on more towards probably Luka at this point. Me, I'm a little bit older. I've said this already, but like Luka is playing right now kind of where Chris Paul was 10 years ago or something like that. You know what I mean? So 10 years ago, was I rooting for Chris Paul to win? Hell no. Not in the slightest. You know what I mean? Now the roles are reversed. Like Luka will have his day to be renowned and to be respected and to all that kind of stuff. And right now, like he fits into that role of he plays really well, but he also just cries too much. So
yeah,
his success can be deferred, in my opinion, too.
Yep.
And my head's all over the place. Part of me is praying on Phoenix's downfall because that helps the Ayton to San Antonio conversation, and there's a lot of ways that it can go. But I guess what I try to do, like Spurs are out, and I know that there's you can have the mindset of like if the Spurs aren't in, I don't care who wins. I don't care about basketball as much. Me, it's like this is the time where I get to flex a little bit of those different muscles. And, we rag on Jake all season about like being fans of other players or other teams or whatever. But in my opinion, this is the time. So I'm okay to enjoy a Chris Paul performance, to see Klay Thompson come back and hit all those threes in his game 6. Golden State in general, they've been fun to watch, man. They're a little bit on that second leg of their core being together. You know what I mean? So it's not all roses and sunshine for them. It's they're having to push through adversity and that kind of stuff. It's entertaining. So
this Golden State Memphis series reminded me of the San Antonio Golden State series in 2013, where it's like a young team up and coming. You got John Morant like as a star, like up and coming like Steph was. And they pushed us to, I think, 6 games. Like it was a battle.
And even the game that we ended up coming back to win, we had to come back and win after they were like smacking us.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
and that's where it reminded me of, because it was like they were showing like a little bit of like what was to come, and we were like Chris was saying, like on the second leg of competing. Like those back end years of the big three, and then after we win in 2014, there you go, Steph and all them show up and they arrived, and that's what I'm scared with the Memphis. Like Chris was saying, like they're gonna learn from this, and then they're gonna be really competing for years. And
I mean, it's gonna happen regardless. And us as Spurs fans, we got to deal with Dallas in our division, Memphis in our division, Zion and New Orleans are on the come up in our division. Houston's not looking to stay at the bottom. Who knows what kind of moves they make? But you know what I mean. So
definitely in the early stages of the rebuild, but are definitely going to be looking or trying to be looking like a Dallas or
at the very least are in a position to get a top pick like right now.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
I mean? So it's gonna be tough, but like you were saying, those comparisons, like it makes it easier to root for like a Golden State. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to see. I wish Tim Duncan had a podcast to go talk on right after they were done with their series. You know what I mean? That'd be cool.
I get it. That Draymond Green podcast has been entertaining for me, man. I just watched the Steph Curry Draymond Green podcast, and man, that one was so good.
They made it while this series was still going on.
No, they did it before Memphis started. They did it before Memphis started, but it was very, very like. I just really liked listening to what Steph and Draymond had to say about their team and stuff like that. And it was just really like, honestly, I think Juan has kind of said it a couple times, but for a team like Golden State to succeed, you need a guy like Steph to be how Timmy was for us. And that's like a thing where it's like, yeah, because I mean, I'm sure Steph wasn't like trying to take those pay cuts whenever he got injured. But
some of that circumstantial.
It's circumstances, but then it's also Steph, accepting the role that Golden State gives him, no matter what, because it's a succeeding position. Even seeing Golden State bench Steph when he's like coming off his injury, having him be the 6th man on their team when he's coming off of an injury to start the series.
And then as this series went along. Not until the very last game did Poole kind of start to feel comfortable again. So he, as he starts to look a little bit more like a young guy and show his age, Steph says, "Okay, now it's my time to go step up forward." You can read them if you have them. I think somebody was commenting on there. I can read it. Oh,
Okay.
Cousin Drew says go Mavericks.
Go Mavericks.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then in my situation, same thing with Memphis. I just want Dallas to lose. I want Dallas out of the playoffs. I want any division rivals. Just,
Yeah, it's same. Dallas can get out.
Yeah, just go on, get out of here. All right. I can't stand Luka. He's a crybaby. He doesn't play defense, and it's like the most talented players that you see them do crazy things, and then they are still crying for every little call, and it's. I don't know, I never liked the idea of like rooting for like the Mavericks, like when it was like Dirk's team, but like those last couple of years when they would come to San Antonio and you would just give like the standing ovations for Dirk. I don't know if I'm ever gonna be like that for Luka. I
mean, it's tough because I mean, I said go back to Chris Paul. Like, if you had asked me 10 years ago, I would have said the same thing. Never would I feel like that about Chris Paul. I liked him in New Orleans, and I respected him, and you have the appropriate amount of fear for a guy like that, right? Yeah. As soon as he went to the Clippers, then it was like the hate just like turns up, right? Yeah. Hardcore because of just the antics of the team and the Lob City and all that, whatever. But you know, it comes around. Like the 06 Mavericks team, I literally remember. Actually, it's funny that you bring that up. We lose the series, and even that's the Manu Ginobili fouls Dirk and gives and whatever. So we lose the series, and I remember like to this day, I remember my mom saying like, "Well, we got to root for Dallas to win, right? You know, it's a Texas team and da-da-da." And I'm like a teenager, right? And I look her right in the face and I'm like, no, we do not. We are not rooting for Dallas to win. So like 06, you know, they go up 2-0, I think, right? Over Miami. Then D-Wade goes off or whatever. And I was like, okay, good. This is like what we need to see. Yeah. Transport your way down the line. And now it's the Heatles. And you get an aging Dirk. Yeah. And then you're right. You know, I still remember that series too. Sitting at, I think we were in California. Watching the series at that point, and it was the complete opposite. It was like, all right, Dirk, now's the time. Yeah, you know, so maybe in 2030. Yeah, 2030, right. The 2033 NBA Finals MVP, Luka Doncic.
Right, there we go. That would be exciting to see.
No,
yeah, exactly.
I think I'd be pretty happy for it. I'd say that I'm probably the least of the Luka haters out of us four, us three plus Josh, right? Because Josh and Juan, man, we'll be talking in our own respective places, and I hear both of them just kind of ragging on Luka and just about his crying. Really, it's nothing too crazy, but
that's like in my opinion, like if you're a player, or they probably don't give a damn because they're making money, they're doing their thing. He's producing for his team. They're a successful team. But like if that's a thing that people talk about and it's not even your basketball, it's like I don't know. It's more character than anything, you know. Mm-hmm. And actually, no. The last time the commentators were talking about that, they're saying the next step for Luka is knowing when to do this, when to do that, and it was all character stuff. And it's like, in my opinion, that's kind of a negative. I mean, because one day your basketball skills diminish. You know what I mean? And so you're left with your character. You're left with those kind of things. And so I would like to see those people who have that strong character or just the strong like fundamentals. Going back to the basketball skills, his fundamentals are going to be sound for like until he's old. Yeah, you know what I mean. But I mean, one of these days you get to be a little bit slower than you used to be, a little bit weaker than you used to be. You know what I mean? And we're seeing it. I mean, Chris Paul used to be the one getting all these calls. Yeah, crying the whole game, but being smart enough to put himself in those positions and getting benefit of the doubt enough times over the course of 48 minutes. Now you flip it, and it's a changing of the guard. You see it. You see it every X amount of years, you know what I mean? So this would be the prime example. I mean, how many times have you seen this? This series is a good example of times where you would see Chris Paul get the benefit of the doubt, and instead, boom, foul on him, offensive foul on him, or whatever. And then you get on the next play or the next couple possessions, you see it go Luka's way down on the other end. It's like that's just how it goes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we are watching this Game 7 of the semifinals between Dallas and Phoenix right now, and honestly, it looked like Phoenix is kind of getting there. Like they're having such a terrible time offensively, other than like the Cam Johnson 3 that just happened.
Why is Bismack Biyombo already playing?
That's exactly what I was going to say. They just put out Bismack Biyombo and Landry Shamet to, I assume, to get some type of just change, right? To see if anybody can give them an offensive spark, and so far nothing's really worked for them. Like I said, they were able to get a nice wide open 3 from Cam Johnson, but
Yeah, Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix is struggling offensively and defensively. Up until like the 40 seconds to go in the quarter, Luka had 12 points and the Phoenix had 12 points, and Dallas ends the quarter winning.
It's probably just it's 10 point, 17-27. It's probably just the aggressiveness. I mean, we saw the last game, and what was it? It was the shot attempt, the 3-point attempts.
Yep.
53-point attempts for Boston to half that, if that much for Milwaukee.
Yep.
And while we were getting on this stream, while we were setting up the stream, the game was starting, and what was it? It was 3-point attempts in like the first minute for Luka.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you shoot the ball, and if it goes in, it goes in. If not, I'm just gonna shoot it again. I'm just gonna shoot it again. You know, so.
Well, we were able to get on and talk a good little bit of playoffs. I guess like the one thing that I want to mention for myself, just because I over the last 2 weeks I have been able to get my whole spiel about it. With that Bucks game from earlier, it was bittersweet because I did call I think Boston in 6 in my predictions, and it was bittersweet because honestly throughout the series I really wanted to change it to Giannis taking it all and just being able to beat Boston, and I mean it is what it is. I figured without the likes of Chris Middleton, even with Giannis putting up Giannis type numbers, we were going to see Boston take this series against them.
Yeah, and they've been playing good ball at the right time, so it doesn't.
And Jason Tatum has been playing as well as any other player in the league right now in the playoffs, just carrying in certain moments it. Hitting big buckets, hitting threes. That it feels like every player on the Celtics takes at least 10 threes a game, and
not even just that, but being able to come back from something like the Drew Holiday strip on Smart, the block on the baseline plus the strip a couple of possessions later. That's demoralizing for a lot of teams.
On your own court.
The NBA champions just beat us on our own court
after leading double digits
on
in the
2
fourth.
back-to-back defensive play. Exactly. All of the above.
Hit back to Milwaukee.
So to be able to come back and back against the wall, win 2 games.
Win 2 games. Yep.
I mean, they're headed in the right direction. Miami to look forward a little bit, kind of the same thing. I just feel like people have been talking about them a lot less. When you've been the 1 seed the whole year, you are what you are. And on top of that, most people, at least from what I hear, people talking most people have been kind of dismissive of Miami, even though they've been a 1 seed, or I should say a top seed this whole year, right? Most people, it's been Milwaukee, Boston, and Brooklyn when they were still kind of in the conversation. So what are you thinking for this next one?
Man, honestly, with the Heat and the Celtics, I'm very excited to see the series because I think Miami matches up really well against a team like Boston. And I mean, like you said, people kind of dismiss Miami, but there's been a lot of these little clips here and there where you're seeing Trae Young get locked up by Miami's defense, and you're seeing these defensive schemes, defensive plays that Miami will do, and you're just seeing my goodness, man, they have nothing but elite or defensive weapons at their disposal. No matter who it is on the court, sides like a Tyler Hero or maybe even Max Strus, Duncan Robinson. But for the most part, that's 3 players in your main rotation and Duncan Robinson not even in the main rotation, but a couple players in your rotation that are defensive liabilities on occasion. And so that's where I'm excited to see what Boston's going to do against a team like Miami. And we'll see. I know Juan talks about the bubble frauds and how Miami and LA are bubble frauds, and I mean for me, if Miami does make it to the finals, it continues to discount that thing. I never thought that they were bubble frauds, but I wasn't necessarily looking at Miami.
Didn't Boston and Miami go against each other in the bubble?
No, it was.
I could have swore Bam
Oh
Bucks.
yeah, it was.
So we'll see. We'll see
exactly
who's more of a bubble fraud.
We'll get the we'll get that rematch. So I'm excited to see that stuff, and I think
for Boston, I'm curious to see if Grant Williams is going to continue his streak
Mm-hmm.
because they asked a lot out of him to guard Giannis, and then for him to kind of put up the offensive performances that he did. It's can they rely on him? I know he's probably not going to go for 7 threes in a game again, but to be a player outside of Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I'm looking at like players like Grant Williams and Derek White, even like Marcus Smart, like offensively, see if they can carry. Because if it's just a Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum duo, I think Miami's going to.
They're gonna cook. They're gonna if Ime Udoka doesn't have like adjustments and tries to run like this heavy ISO ball, then you're not gonna see Boston succeed against.
But this series, and we just talked about it. But when this last game was ending, like all you heard was the other people. Yeah. And at the beginning of the series, it was Al Horford. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like having moments, and that's really all you need is moments, right? Your stars lead the way, and your other guys need to provide moments. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So I think they have depth. Obviously, they got a lot of players. So a lot of players just means a lot of chances for somebody to have a moment. You know what I mean? And somebody to be able to contribute. So
yeah, I'm looking at Derek White averaging like 15 points a game.
Who would even like? Is he start for Boston? Or he's off their bench, right?
He's off their bench. Yeah.
So who's checking Derek White on the Miami bench? Would you know?
So I couldn't tell you who their starting five is, but I know that like pretty much like your guard rotations are going to be Kyle Lowry, Tyler Hero, Victor Oladipo, Max Strus, if I'm not mistaken. So those are like the at least 4 guards that I can name off the top of my head that would be running that rotation. I mean, again, I'm not telling you that Max Strus is like a defensive liability.
Yeah, Derek White's cooking all those guys.
But he
it was wild to see Derek White for them to park Brooke Lopez on Derek White so much today.
Yeah, no kidding. And I'll give Derek this, man. Derek hit a timely 3, even with the in a sense bad offensive production that he gave today. He hit a timely 3 for them to keep that momentum going for Boston. So. You know, I love Juan saying, man, it's the big time players make big time plays.
Oh yeah.
So,
go ahead.
I just say I wholeheartedly believe in that saying, and I think Derek, it's time to look at his shooting in the bubble as a bubble fraud. For the Spurs in that little 8 games, he was carrying their 3-point shooting, and ever since then, I'm pretty sure he's shooting like 30% from 3 over the course of like the last 2 seasons, and. I don't know if it's like, because I used to think it was like a slump. There would be times where he'd get a little, like, you'd think, oh, he's just having to force up, like, 3s for the Spurs, but he's wide open for this Boston.
Yeah. I mean, it is a little bit of stability, you know, like when we talk about from the bubble and all the injuries that were following him from that time, including COVID, including a trade, including, you know what I mean? So, like, it's hard to just say, what are you going to say? Like, we'll just give him another year. Give him another year. So I get what you're saying about, like, at some point you got to just say that he is what he is. You know what I mean? So Miami's, I guess, second unit, or just at least how ESPN has their depth chart is Gabe Vincent, Tyler Hero, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, Dwayne Dedmon. Right. So, you know, Caleb, well, really it would be like the Tyler Hero, Derek White matchup. That would be fun.
Yeah. Derek's great defensively, and Tyler Hero has been phenomenal offensively.
Exactly. And as much as you're talking about his shooting, if all he does is slow Tyler Hero down in the second unit, that's probably enough for Boston. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
asking him to disrupt Jimmy's lane a little bit when he's out there like that.
If Smart's out or something like that,
you're asking a lot for your guards in Derek White and Marcus Smart to be able to do their thing against Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler. You know, so
and we'll see about Lowry. He's been in and out, right? in and out of his injury or whatever. But they're a formidable team. It feels odd because it feels like nobody's really been saying anything about them all year. Like they get passed by a little bit.
It's like what we talked about like last time we were kind of all together on the podcast. It's like there's been so much evidence of like team ball and like defensively like a system. Like you're not just letting the other team just, you know, you're committed to playing defense. The Heat and like, you know, I guess obviously the Spurs, like there's cultures, right? You're not gonna get on the court if you're just like a liability on the defensive end. And then on the offensive end, like, yeah, you have like a go-to guy, but like it's team ball. You don't just ball hog. You're not just isoing the whole possession. And it's kind of like the formula. Like I believe, like we can get our team going 8, 9 players deep on a rotation with the guys we got right now in the Spurs, and follow a formula like the Miami Heat and what they've shown like in the playoffs this year and a couple years ago. It's I think we really need to like look at that. Jimmy Butler, DeJounte Murray, both kind of late bloomers and a little bit defensive minded guys who can't really shoot that well.
Have an edge to them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of that's what leads them sometimes even more than their skill. And both of them are highly skilled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's as much as like Chris said, like we like to, joke with Jake about how much he loves the Miami Heat. Like that's like a blueprint of like what we can do as a Spurs team. Even the Memphis team without John Morant, like you get a ball stopper out of your offensive system, and he's like a turnstile for the defensive end for them. Like you remove that player, and now Memphis is playing so much better.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like you're crazy talented and you can score and do everything, but like when the whole team's playing well, like it just good things happen. And that's just kind of like my take from the playoffs is I know Memphis didn't get it done, and I wanted them to lose, but it's like there's like blueprints you can see like how the Spurs can take the next step. Like look at some of these teams and how they're successful in the playoffs, and I feel like we can find our way like Miami, like commit to the defensive end, have like not just one guy but 7, 6 guys.
And that's just to get you in the fight, man. Because like we were saying earlier, man, it almost feels like, especially after seeing this year where a team like LA kind of crumbles right as the season is, and obviously injuries, but like they crumble, Brooklyn crumbles, like all of the super teams, right?
Yeah.
It's like I would love to have a solid decade of no super teams, or of 1-2 punches that just go across the board, and maybe out of that 10 years, maybe there's one team that gets 2 titles. You know what I mean? And everything else is just up for grabs. Like that to me, that's an exciting era of ball that I think we could be moving into, which would be cool.
For sure. Well, I'll take Juan's minuscule compliment and say that I have a pretty good choice in players that I like. So there's definitely something to be said there when.
Well, it's different when you're rooting for that team and you don't even realize the Spurs are playing that night.
No, that's not what happens. But I'd like to finish it up with the Spurs talk. The draft lottery is going to be this week. So obviously that means that next week I will be getting back on here to talk a little bit about the lottery and talk a little bit more centered towards Spurs basketball.
Depending on how the lottery balls fall for us, we'll see what type of episode we have next week.
Let's go, David.
Yeah,
let's go, David.
Yeah,
if we have a top 4 pick or even better, let's see.
You'll be either seeing me all Spurs geared up with like the shades and everything, like all high balling. Like
why are they relying on Torrey Craig and JaVale McGee? My God.
I don't know what Phoenix's game plan is right now.
I guess real quick about this Phoenix Mavs game, I saw a graphic that said like we're 4 minutes into the second quarter and Chris Paul, Ayton, and Devin Booker were combined for like 3 points, and Phoenix has 22 and they're losing by 12 to Dallas. It's been rough.
Paul had his first foul, I think, in the first like 2 or 3 minutes of the game. He was already on the ground. Oh, there. Is that 2?
No, that is not.
Easily could. In Dallas, that would have been a foul for sure.
Yep. We'll see, man. I guess I'm kind of hoping for Phoenix to win. I would like to see Phoenix Golden State. But if Dallas wins, then I guess I want to see Golden State in the finals. That's like my only thing with like the West is like I'm not really rooting for any of these guys to be winners here. It's just whoever.
Yeah, and like me, like I would have been fine if the Phoenix Suns beat Milwaukee last year. Like that would have been cool for me, and CP finally gets his ring and all that kind of stuff. So that really hasn't changed too much, to be honest. When it comes to me, it's like if they actually it would be a little bit better, right? You get to the finals, you don't win, you got to start all over again and still make it back. Like it would be a good story. So I would not be mad. I think out of the 4 teams left, it's probably just Dallas that I don't want to win.
Yeah.
Boston can win, Miami can win, and Phoenix can win. or Golden State,
Yeah.
right? It's not to get past this game, but Dallas would probably be the only team that I'm like I wouldn't be rooting for.
Yeah. Well,
I agree.
guys, I hope y'all appreciated us being able to come together and having this fun little setup with Chris here on a different camera.
Yeah, we're just testing it out.
But
It's having fun.
But yeah, it was a cool little experiment. We're gonna go ahead and finish watching up this game. I hope you enjoyed this. But with that being said, I hope everybody has a wonderful and blessed day, and we are